Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the boundaries of time and space are bridged by the power of storytelling and the pursuit of knowledge. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the annals of history as we delve into the pivotal Battle of Ain Jalut, a clash of armies that would shape the destiny of empires and leave an indelible mark on the fabric of human civilization. The Battle of Ain Jalut, fought in the Jezreel Valley of Palestine, would be a watershed moment in the history of the Middle East as two titans of the medieval world collided in a maelstrom of steel and blood. To understand the events leading up to this fateful battle, we must first immerse ourselves in the tumultuous world of the 13th century. The Mongol Empire, forged by the genius and ferocity of Genghis Khan, had been expanding its dominions with breathtaking rapidity, leaving in its wake a trail of conquered cities, vanquished armies, and devastated landscapes. As the Mongols swept across the known world, their war machine seemed almost invincible, fueled as it was by a potent mix of martial prowess, strategic brilliance, and an unyielding appetite for conquest. Meanwhile, in the southern Mediterranean, the Mamluk Sultanate had established itself as a major power, its capital in Cairo serving as a hub of commerce, culture, and learning. The Mamluks, who were largely composed of slave soldiers of Turkish and Circassian origin, had risen to prominence through their military prowess and their ability to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries that characterized the politics of the region. As the Mongols began to set their sights on the Middle East, the Mamluks found themselves facing an existential threat. The Mongol army, led by the brilliant and ruthless general Kitbuka, had already overrun much of modern-day Syria and Palestine, leaving the Mamluks with a narrow window of opportunity to mobilize their forces and prepare for the impending battle. In the years preceding the Battle of Ain Jalut, the Mamluk Sultanate was ruled by the capable and ambitious leader Qutuz, who had risen to power through a combination of military victories and cunning diplomacy. Qutuz, aware of the gathering storm on his northern borders, had been busily strengthening his army, forging alliances with neighboring states, and searching for a strategic advantage that would allow him to counter the Mongol juggernaut. The Mongols, with their lightning-fast cavalry and disciplined archers, were poised to unleash their fury upon the Mamluk army, which was largely composed of heavily armored infantry and skilled horsemen. The events leading up to the Battle of Ain Jalut were marked by a series of diplomatic maneuvers, intelligence gathering, and strategic positioning. The Mamluks, aware of the Mongols' penchant for surprise attacks and encirclement tactics, had been busy scouting the enemy's movements, identifying potential vulnerabilities in their lines, and preparing a series of defensive strongpoints that would funnel the Mongol army into kill zones. As the summer of 1260 wore on, the tension between the two armies continued to build. The Mamluks, with their superior knowledge of the terrain and their extensive network of spies and scouts, were well informed about the Mongols' plans and dispositions. Meanwhile, the Mongols, confident in their own military prowess and the sheer scale of their army, were preparing to unleash a devastating blow that would shatter the Mamluk defenses and open up the road to Egypt. As the summer solstice approached, the Mongol army, led by Kitbuka, began to converge on the Jezreel Valley, their movements swift and deliberate. The Mamluk forces, under the command of Qutuz, had been mobilized in response, with contingents of heavily armored infantry and skilled horsemen gathering at the strategic strongpoints of Ain Jalut and Zirin. On September 3, 1260, the two armies clashed in a frenzy of steel and blood, as the Mongols launched a series of probing attacks against the Mamluk lines. The initial skirmishes were intense, with the Mongol cavalry exploiting the open terrain to devastating effect, their arrows raining down on the Mamluk infantry like a deadly storm. However, Qutuz had anticipated this tactic, and his forces held firm, anchored by the defensive strongpoints that funneled the Mongol horsemen into kill zones. As the day wore on, the Mamluks began to gain the upper hand, their disciplined formations and superior knowledge of the terrain allowing them to counterattack with increasing effectiveness. One notable example of Mamluk cunning was the deployment of a contingent of lightly armored infantry, who were instructed to feign retreat, luring the Mongol cavalry into pursuit. As the Mongols gave chase, they were drawn into a series of cleverly laid ambushes where the Mamluk heavy infantry lay in wait, their swords and axes at the ready. The resulting carnage was appalling, with the Mongol horsemen cut down in droves, their bodies littering the dusty terrain like so many broken toys. As the battle raged on, Kitbuka became increasingly frustrated by the Mamluks' refusal to yield, his anger and desperation growing with each passing hour. In a moment of rashness, he led a personal charge against the Mamluk lines, hoping to shatter their morale and break their resolve. However, Qutuz had anticipated this move, and his forces were ready, with a carefully prepared reception committee waiting to greet the Mongol general. According to the Arab historian Ibn al-Furat, Kitbuka was surrounded by the Mamluks, who closed in on him like a circle of steel, their swords flashing in the sunlight as they struck him down. The loss of their leader was a devastating blow to the Mongols, and their army began to waver, its discipline and cohesion beginning to fray. As the sun began to set on September 3, 1260, the Mamluks sensed victory within their grasp, and they pressed their advantage with renewed vigor, driving the Mongols back in disarray. As the sun dipped below the horizon on September 3, 1260, the Mamluks had secured a decisive victory, their forces having repelled the Mongol invasion and sent the enemy fleeing in disarray. The aftermath of the battle was marked by a frenzy of activity, as the Mamluks tended to their wounded, buried their dead, and pursued the remnants of the Mongol army. According to the historian Ibn al-Furat, the Mamluks cut down the Mongols like harvesters cutting down wheat, their swords rising and falling with deadly precision. The Mongol defeat was catastrophic, with estimates suggesting that over 10,000 of their number had fallen in the battle. In the days and weeks that followed, the Mamluks consolidated their gains, establishing a series of defensive strongpoints to prevent any future Mongol incursions. Qutuz, the Mamluk leader, was hailed as a hero, his reputation as a skilled and cunning commander cemented by his victory over the Mongols. The Battle of Ain Jalut marked a turning point in the history of the Middle East, as it halted the Mongol advance and allowed the Mamluks to establish themselves as the dominant power in the region. As the years passed, the legacy of the Battle of Ain Jalut continued to be felt. The Mamluks went on to rule Egypt and Syria for centuries, their dynasty marked by a series of notable achievements, including the construction of grand architectural monuments and the patronage of scholars and artists. The battle itself was remembered as a testament to the bravery and cunning of the Mamluk forces, who had saved the Islamic world from the depredations of the Mongols. Today, the Battle of Ain Jalut is remembered as one of the most significant battles in Middle Eastern history, its impact still felt over 750 years later. As the historian Donald Wilbur once observed, the battle marked a decisive shift in the balance of power in the region, as the Mamluks emerged as the dominant force and the Mongols were forced to retreat. The battle is commemorated in numerous historical accounts, from the detailed chronicles of Ibn al-Furat to the epic poems of later writers. It remains an important part of the cultural heritage of the Middle East, a symbol of resistance against foreign invasion and a testament to the enduring power of courage and determination. The Battle of Ain Jalut also had a profound impact on the development of Islamic civilization, as it allowed the Mamluks to establish a stable and secure environment in which scholars and artists could flourish. The battle marked the beginning of a golden age of Islamic culture, as scholars such as Ibn Khaldun and Ibn Battuta made significant contributions to fields such as history, philosophy, and geography. In conclusion, the Battle of Ain Jalut was a pivotal moment in Middle Eastern history, marking the defeat of the Mongols and the emergence of the Mamluks as the dominant power in the region. Its legacy can still be felt today, as it continues to inspire pride and admiration among people across the Islamic world. The battle serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of courage, determination, and strategic thinking, and its impact will continue to be felt for generations to come. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And, until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.